So you got this laser as an investment because you wanted to make cool things with it and hopefully pay it off, right? But the thing is, material costs have gone way up. That's where thrift stores come in. In the next few minutes, I plan to show you what you can do with things you can easily find at any thrift store, nothing rare or weird, and hopefully you can turn into a profit. So let's get those lasers fired on, and I'm going to show you what I plan to do with this. Cigar boxes are a staple find in the thrift stores, and they are great for engraving. These are fun to turn into cute storage purses and all sorts of things, but I'm going to think outside of the box and engrave the inside of the box. So I guess I am thinking inside of the box. Anyway, I am going to turn this into a shelf. First, I just need to detach the top from the bottom so I can engrave the inside part of the top lid. It has a stamp in here that I could sand away, but I'm totally just going to leave it. There's no lacquer or finishing stuff on the inside, so engraving will be a smooth sailing process. I am going with a Dios los Muertos design for the Day of the Dead. Now that we are encroaching fall, I just have the season on my mind. Now I just need to turn this into a shelf. I am going to screw the top part to the bottom of the box since I had to rip the hinges off the back. To help me do this, I'm going to use a hand drill. If you don't have one, it might surprise you how often you will use this for projects and other things around the house. Sometimes a big drill is just way too much. So I screw these pieces together, and if the hinges were still on there, if you were doing this with a cigar box, I would skip this step and just go on to the next one, which is to add some chain for support and some shiny flair. The chain is super easy to attach with tiny screws and using that hand drill. I also put some hangers on the back and it's already done. It's ready to be hung up. If you were to engrave this with like a fun design, it would make such a cute shelf in the bathroom for little toiletries or your makeup. Or you can engrave it with, say, your favorite recipe and hang it in the kitchen with your spices. There are so many possibilities for cigar boxes. They don't just have to be storage boxes. They can be decorations that are useful in your home. I'm so excited for this next one. Can you believe I got this suede leather purse for only $5? It was half off. There are so many purses at thrift stores, and a lot of them are real leather. This one is a little bit beat up, and it definitely had a perfume bottle leak into it at some point in its life, but think of how many things we can make with this. I am going to make two things. When you are cutting up a purse, try to keep all the hardware or straps it comes with. You never know when those are going to come in handy. As with most leather crafts, I do with my laser, the first thing that needs to happen is to soak your leather in water. This will clean it up a bit and it'll help it cut evenly and be a little bit less smelly. Once it is saturated, I just towel it off and it's ready for the laser. Going suede side down, I'm going to make these into some super cute coffin earrings. These are a version of coffin earrings from a new jewelry file I have available for download on my website, link for that below. To finish these up, I just let them dry a little bit. There is a bit of residue along the edges from the lasering process, and we can easily get that off. I just use a little bit of rubbing alcohol with one of my buffing rags, and it just comes right up. For the big yet super lightweight coffins, I just need to hang them on some hooks and they are ready to be sold. That's why leather makes such great jewelry. There is barely any finishing touches needed. I am also going to use the little hearts from the center of the coffins to make stud earrings. This Aleene's jewelry glue is my favorite glue for studs, and it does a great job securing tightly even to leather. I could get so many pairs out of this purse. It's way cheaper than buying new leather. Plus, a lot of people love upcycled handmade goods. I know I do. I'm going to make another project out of this leather purse. I did soak this piece for a while too, but I'm going to be a little bit more mysterious. I'll show you what this mysterious object looks like in the laser, but before I show you what it is, we need to make another project from the thrift store that this is for. Any ideas what this could be? Weird oval lines, weird thing? Well, just you hold on. So I found this old Crown Royale bottle and it is perfect for this Halloween-y idea. I just needed to use some Goo Gone to get those dang labels off. That stuff works miracles. Now I just use my wide masking tape on the area I want to laser. I have a 40-watt laser, so I can just engrave right on there. Otherwise, you'll need to use diode laser compatible marking paper or ink. I engraved a Jolly Roger skull and crossbones design on there with a spooky looking poison label on the front as well as on the back side of the bottle. There's hardly any more to do to this project except to peel off the masking tape and fill it up with poison. And since I had just run out of my favorite spicy death juice, I filled the bottle up with some water and a few evil drops of food coloring. I promise, it's only food coloring, it's completely safe. Any guesses as to what that weird leather oval thing was yet? I think the best way to tell you what this is to just show you. But first, I need to get rid of the residue blowback marks, just like we did with the coffin earrings with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. Once that's done and this thing has a little bit of drying time, I'm ready to show you. Putting my spooky bottle of poison right in the middle, I pull up the handles to reveal a little leather net bag. It just hugs around the sides of the bottle. How cute is that? And since we saved the strap from the purse, I can just loop that onto the handles, and this poison is ready to hit the road. Or pretty much anything. If you go out for a night on the town, bring a pumpkin that a fairy godmother can turn into a carriage for you. No more Uber fees. Man, thrifting just saves so much money, doesn't it? Children's books are probably one of the cheapest things you can get at a thrift store, and I was lucky enough to get one of the most fun books of all time. Now, I have to warn you, in order to do this project, we will be taking pages out of this book. But don't worry, the plan is to transform it into something kids, and even me, will enjoy for ages. I am turning one of these pages into a puzzle. To do that, we first need to flip through and find a page we like. I love space, so let's do this one. We just first need to find Waldo. Feel free to pause if you want to find him before I do. There he is. I am going to now use a piece of 1/8 inch thick light MDF board as the backing. Using a utility knife, I cut the page out very carefully. The best type of adhesive I like to use to glue these together is Mod Podge. I put a pretty thick coat on the MDF and carefully lay the page on top. The page is going to soak up some of the moisture and it will wrinkle a little bit. Once it wrinkles, I use some sort of squeegee or a flat-edged item to lightly smooth it out without tearing the page. Then it gets a coat of Mod Podge on top. This needs to fully dry before we cut it. While that dries, let's make the puzzle file. I found this thread on the Glowforge community boards, and thanks to this absolute boss, we have this app to generate puzzles for us. I'll have a link for it in the description and on my blog post. You can toggle all the specifications you want. You can make it more squiggly, adjust the tab size, and even how many pieces you want. Then you just download the SVG and you're ready in less time than it takes for the puzzle board to dry. Once you have your file and everything is dry, you just have to cut it out. It takes a little while, but it's so worth it. The most fun part is to obviously put it together. It took me a little while, especially since I didn't have a reference picture, and because this is laser cut, the pieces are a bit loose compared to a stamp cut cardboard puzzle. Luckily, the thick MDF board holds everything together pretty well. And I cleaned this up with a bit of rubbing alcohol as well, and since the Mod Podge is pretty thick, it just dries right back up again and seals it. This would obviously make a really great puzzle to sell, but I think this would look really cool as like a framed piece of art too. It's not just that materials are getting more expensive, but if you want to make something truly unique and one of a kind, you should take a moment at your local thrift store. You never know what you'll find. And if you want to see how I made 25 laser cut projects in just 1 hour, check out this video next.